Hey y'all, hey, it's your girl Charlie of Coffee with Charlie, and I am here tonight with Rikisha Morgan Harrison. And we're going to talk about her business, Relic Roots, and we're also going to talk about her genealogy planner, which is her first publication, which means there's more to come. Hey Rikisha girl, how you doing?
Hey, doing good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. No, a little hot, but I'm good. A little
Yeah, it's
hot.
pretty hot out there.
And look, and still drinking my coffee. Okay. Not gonna give up this
Look,
coffee.
me too.
So first of all, I just want to tell you, thank you for coming in the little studio with me tonight, coffee with Charlie and hanging out with me and just being here. And I appreciate you. I appreciate you
Thank
because our
you.
time is
Thank you for
important and our
having
time
me.
is valuable. Absolutely. Absolutely. I was just saying our time is important, it's valuable, and you are sharing yours with me. So thank you. So we're just going to dive
You're
right
welcome.
into why we are here. And so, as I said, your business, your brand is Relic Roots. And before we really get into the genealogy planner itself, tell us, well, first of all, tell us a little bit about you. And then we will talk about Relic Roots.
Okay. So, as she mentioned, my name is Rikisha Morgan Harrison. I am from Muskogee, Oklahoma, raised in Muskogee, Oklahoma. I am a genealogist, and I like to refer to myself as your ancestor ambassador.
Okay.
I'm a member of Gamma Phi Delta sorority, Tallahassee Wildcat Foundation, Order of Eastern Stars, Muskogee Brick Optimist Club. So I do a lot in the community and I like giving back and I like helping people, as you can tell from the organizations that I'm a part of.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Now tell us, you are our what ambassador?
Ancestor ambassador.
You are our ancestor
Ancestor
ambassador.
ambassador.
I like that.
Absolutely.
And I
Thank
might
you.
need you to be my ancestor ambassador because here lately, and I'm gonna use my book because I got me a book too, and we'll get to that.
Okay.
But
I've been waiting. Uh-oh.
even before we had actually had some time to talk about the genealogy planner, I had
Hmm.
thought in my head a great gift I could give to my grandkids this Christmas or the Christmas after, but really, really soon coming was to just put together a book. And
Hmm.
it'll be something I hand make. And with pictures of my family and other people that they're related to that I can get my hands on. But as far as like my side, because my two of my grandchildren are your color, and two of my grandchildren
Uh-huh.
are my color. But we all have white, black, and native in us. And so I want them to know about their native roots and things like that. But I thought, I
Hmm.
don't just want them to know about their native roots. I want them to know that, we black, we African, we came from somewhere.
Right,
And so
right.
I wanted to do more research on my grandfather. He was born in 1893, my dad's dad. And so, but like when I go look up things or search his name, I can't find anything. So that's where I'm gonna need you to be my ancestor ambassador, because I have been thinking about
Okay.
you a lot lately. So I'm glad this interview was coming up. And so, because there's something out there, and I do know that, the Dodd name, which is my last name, I do know that that's a colonizer name. I'm not ignorant to that. I
Hmm.
looked that up years ago.
Hmm.
And so yeah, so we got some roots to chase after.
Yes, yes.
Hmm. So, how did you become an ancestor ambassador? What's your passion for genealogy?
Well, it actually started doing a project in elementary school. I believe I was in maybe fourth or fifth grade, and we had to do a family tree. And so I went to my mom and asked her, what are your parents' names? I mean, I knew my grandparents, but I didn't understand the family dynamic at that time, right? So I'm like, okay, what's your mom's name? I didn't realize that my grandmother was her mom.
Right.
So I'm writing everything down, and then I go to my dad and ask him questions, and he gave me his parents' names, but that was it. And I was really confused. Like, what do you mean? You don't know your grandparents' names, and where were they born? Where are they at? I'm asking him all these questions, and he couldn't tell me. My dad has one brother and one sister. I reached out to both of them. They didn't know much either. So that
Wow.
bothered me for a while, like trying to figure
Mm-hmm.
out where I come from, because I have my mom's side of the family, and, we filled it out quickly. And,
Mm-hmm.
I would go to, like, say, family reunions or picnics and visit
Mm-hmm.
people. But on my dad's side, there wasn't any of that. I mean, my uncle did come visit yearly, but I didn't see my aunt much at all. So it was a pretty small
Mm-hmm.
family outside of, that immediate family. So just trying to figure out who I am because of that project started it all. And my mom's
Mm-hmm.
brother got interested in ancestry, and he started digging into some stuff, and he found out that his grandfather was named one name and then changed his name to another name. So all that lit a fire under me, because then like, why would he do that? Why would they change their whole name? And so I picked up his torch and just started researching, and been doing it ever since. And I try to stop. Well, I used to. I don't anymore. But I
Mm-hmm.
try to stop because it takes a lot of time. It's been times I pulled all-nighters researching
Yeah.
and looking
Yeah.
at stuff. So I've been a member of Ancestry before it became so popular, almost when it first began. I've been a
Oh
member
wow.
of Ancestry digging. So like I said, I've tried to stop, but something keeps pulling me back. So
Mm-hmm. Because the
that's how
work
I
is not
started.
done. Yeah.
Nope,
Yeah.
not
So
done.
you're from here in Oklahoma, born and
Hmm.
raised, correct? So that
No,
means that, go ahead.
I was actually born in LA, in
Oh,
California. So I was just
okay.
raised in Muskogee.
Okay. And but your roots are here in Oklahoma, like your people are from here. Your
That's the weirdest thing. So we moved to Oklahoma because my dad's grandmother moved here. And then when
mm-hmm.
my mom moved here, of course, we found out that my grandfather was born in Fort Gibson. She had never knew that her family was from Oklahoma until we got here. So I'm still meeting family members here in Oklahoma that I grew
Wow.
up around, but didn't know we
Mm-hmm.
were family. We had a
Forgetting.
family reunion this past weekend. So met a lot of
Wow.
people I've been seeing for years, and like, oh, we're cousins. Didn't know.
Wow. Good thing y'all
Yep,
didn't become kissing cousins.
absolutely.
And that's why
Absolutely.
genealogy is important.
Very important. And that's one of the things I told my kids. I said, hey, listen, just come for a minute and look around, make see what
Mm-hmm.
you see, because you meet people at school and at the movies and whatever else, you need to see who your family is. So that is exactly what I told my boys. Just come see who you see.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. That's good advice. Yes. And then I guess I have to remember too, because I was asking about your roots, because I am going to have you
Hmm.
share something with us. We'll get there. But I guess I have to remember
Okay.
too that Oklahoma is not necessarily, or it is not our original native land. We were all brought here from somewhere
Yeah.
else. We were navigated to come here by the government.
Yeah.
So we have to remember that we've been spread out, and we've been this
Yeah.
this was our land before it was
Yeah.
colonized. Yeah, we have to remember that.
Absolutely.
So you
Absolutely.
are Native American, correct? You have Native
Absolutely. Hmm.
American blood
Yes.
flowing through your veins. Yeah. So tell us about
Absolutely.
your
But enrolled as a freedman.
Okay. Okay. So tell us about that. Tell the people who are watching, especially that's not from this area, that what's the difference between a freedman and native blood?
So I guess the simplest way I can say it is freedmen are people that appear to have a drop of black blood. That's the simplest way I can put it.
Mhm.
In my case, for instance, I can prove that I'm related to Nancy Ward, who is considered the mother of the Cherokee Indians, but I'm enrolled as a freedman because when the 1866 Dawes Roll was created, from what I understand, the rules were if you could tell that that person has a drop of African blood, they're to be enrolled as freedmen. So a lot of my
Mhm.
ancestors were on the prior rolls as by blood, but when the Dawes
Mhm.
Roll came around, they were enrolled as freedmen. So therefore, I'm related to Nancy Ward. That is my eighth great grandmother. So great, 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 eight times grandmother, but I'm enrolled as a freedman. Yeah, yeah. Great, 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 great. Yeah. It's back there, but hey, that's my
But it
grandmother,
is
and
what
I'm
it
proud
is.
of it.
Yes, yes, but
Yeah,
it is what it
absolutely.
is. Yes.
Absolutely.
And
Yes.
also for our audience, for those that may not know, what is the definition of a freedman?
So it's an emancipated slave, pretty much. And so, like I
Right.
mentioned, when it comes to the native roles, the way I choose to look at it is someone with a drop of African blood. That's what
Right.
they
And
consider
some
a
of
freedman.
them, because unfortunately, and I hate that part about, I guess, my ancestors, or I hate
Hmm.
knowing that Native American people, Indian people, had black slaves. That bothers me.
Oh, yeah.
And and I know that there was some intertwining of the black slaves and the natives. Hence, other freedmen, like you said, a drop of black blood, because there was the mixing of the races, just like
Right,
black and white. The massa sleeping with
right,
his slaves, and
right,
but it bothers me, and I'm just sharing what I think and what I feel, to know that black people were enslaved by natives, because I feel like in the eyes of the white man, we're no different. And whether our
right,
skin is this light or that brown or even darker or even lighter, but still clear that that individual is of color. You know what I'm saying? And so there's this, I don't know,
right.
it just breaks my heart.
Yeah, yeah. And knowing that my grandmother that I'm proud of, Nancy Ward, she owned slaves. But we
Hmm.
have to think of it this way, they had to adapt to the white man's way of life. And some it may have been to stay alive or,
Yeah,
to be able to move forward. So a lot of people, went against what they knew to fit into
right.
the new times, you know.
So I'm
And
glad you
and we
said that.
say, I was gonna say we say what we would do if it were us, but we don't know.
But we don't know.
It,
We don't know.
our times are different and just never know. Never
I
know.
have stopped saying, actually, as I've gotten older, I would do this and I would do that, because you're correct. We don't know what we would do
Yep.
in any given situation
Mhm.
until you are in any given situation, whether it's,
Right.
fight or flight, somebody coming up against you, breaking into your home, whatever that looks like. You don't know what you're going to do
Never
until
know.
you're in it. And so no, I stopped
Right.
saying that. And I do know that my grandfather, my mother's father, I feel like, in a sense, he conformed. I feel like part of him
Hmm.
marrying a white woman, and I absolutely, my favorite white person is my white grandma. I love her to pieces when she was alive. Um, but I do feel like part of him marrying a white woman was part of that conforming. He spoke
Right.
fluent Cherokee. So when
Mm.
him and his sisters and other family members would get together that were full blood Cherokee, they would speak their native language, but they never taught my mother, never taught us. And it was something that I don't think he wanted us to have, because it was part of the conforming. And
Right. Right.
mhm. And so, yes, I do unfortunately understand the conforming. A friend of mine, we were just recently talking
Right.
about, kind of like what you just said. It was survival mode, right? What's his
Absolutely.
name?
Absolutely.
He's a Creek leader. I think it was William McIntosh. I actually just threw those papers away because I felt like I didn't need them no more. I helped a
Yeah,
friend
Chief
do
William McIntosh.
with the
He was
Creeks with the
assassinated.
Muskogee
Yeah.
Creek. Yep,
Now
by his
listen, I know
by the
all
Red
about
Creek.
William McIntosh.
Yes. And so he chose to want to do the essay on him because he liked the idea that because he feels like this is would be his way of thinking if faced with those types of situations, that his way of thinking would be like sometimes you have to make those hard choices for forward movement, even though it looks like it's against tradition or feels like it or absolutely is against tradition. Sometimes you have to let tradition go for
Right,
forward movement. And in the long run was the overall big picture survival, even though it didn't look
right,
like that to
right,
some. But in the long run, the overall big picture was survival. So we kind of tug a
right.
word about that conversation and the movements of William McIntosh.
Yeah.
And I do see both sides.
Okay.
Honestly, I do see both sides. I see the sides
Yeah.
of those who wanted to hang on to tradition and see the sides of those who were saying this is our land. Let's not keep dividing it and giving it to the colonizers. But I also saw William McIntosh's side that if we don't move forward, we're going to be consumed entirely,
Right.
you know. So, yeah.
So, and it cost him his life. And so I know about William McIntosh because my ancestors were slaves of his daughter, Jane Hawkins. So
Oh,
Jane
wow.
Hawkins was married to Samuel Hawkins, who was
Mm-hmm.
assassinated the same time that Chief McIntosh was. So that's how my ancestors ended up in Oklahoma. So they came here with the removal, but they came with Jane Hawkins and they settled in the Three Forks area here around I think it's around the USS Batfish. I just learned over the weekend that's the area that they settled in. But so yes, my ancestors were once slaves of Chief McIntosh. Bill and Cynthia
Wow.
Hawkins were their names. Yes,
Yes, I read all that. Oh my
yes,
gosh. Wow.
I know. Yeah.
So
Look, I'm like, yeah.
in the I know this is awesome. So in the process of you
Mhm,
continuing your journey of
mhm.
discovering your roots and being invested in that journey, you decided that you wanted to help other people with their genealogy journey, and you created a genealogy planner, and it looks like this. This is her genealogy
Absolutely.
planner by Relic Roots by Miss Rikisha Morgan Harrison. And so, considering that what I explained to you, I do need to start using mine so I can start thinking about what does this look like for my grandchildren, even their children, right? And
Hmm.
and going ahead and writing down the stuff that I know. And then I also, there's a role down at the Cherokee Nation that I can go down there and get some information from too, the Dolls Roll.
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
so I know what table that sits on down there. And but yeah, so wanting to get into that. And so tell us a little bit about your genealogy planner and what your goal is for people who obtain a planner.
Okay. So first I have to start with why I created the planner. Um, I talk genealogy with anybody that'll listen, or history. Like I said, I love history. I love learning about my family, your cousin's family. Like I just love hearing the stories, and I love when people know who they are or where they come from.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I would get a lot of people that would ask me, "How do I start? What do I do?" And that's what made me say, okay, well, you need to create something to help people start. So at first I was going to create a book, with steps on how to get started, but then where do you put the information? Because I started looking at myself and I have pieces of notebook paper. I have where I might have been at a restaurant talking to someone. They told me something I wrote on napkins, on the back of receipts. I have notes in my phone. Stuff is everywhere, right?
Wow.
So
Mm-hmm.
question right now and I don't remember off the top of my head, I'll have to go through a pile of paper to find the answer. Like I know it's somewhere. So I said, let me create something so people can put their start in a book in one place so they don't have to dig like I did. So this is a place to collect information to get started, or to at least be able to collect information to be able to pass on. So I've had several people that say, I'm not interested. Well, that's fine, but at least you can document it in this book. So if someone after you, they're interested, at least they have something to start with. So that was the reason for the planner, is to give people a start. Like, start, there's a section in there for the interviews, start asking questions, there's places for names, put that information down, because once you start digging and wanting to research online for your information, this is what you'll need to get started.
Okay. Okay. So real quickly, because when they open up the genealogy planner, it starts out with about the author. So there's a excerpt about you, but then also I just
Mhm.
want to show them this picture of you and your grandmother, Nancy Ward. Do you want to share about this?
Yes. This was a commission that was given to me for, I believe it was Christmas, by one of my friends. She had that created for me. I think she probably got sick of me talking about Nancy Ward. And, once I found
My
that out, I don't think
grandma.
she got. I was so excited. Hey, there's a play, there's a billboard. My ancestor, I'm in the Daughters of American Revolution because of my ancestor. But no, seriously. So she had someone create that for me. And what that shows is my African and Native side. And I named
Mhm.
the picture as one because it's the first time that I felt as one with the ancestor. Like, just knowing
Mhm.
that I'm connected to her
Mhm.
and how powerful and strong
Mhm.
she was, it look, made me sit up straight. Like, this is my
Yeah.
grandmother. You know, she stood for peace. I stand for peace. It's just the first time that I could relate to someone really hearing her story.
Mhm.
So I actually have on a shirt now, with that. That is like a logo that I use. I have stickers. I try to use this piece wherever I can, because
Wherever you can.
it means a lot. Yes. So
Yeah.
thank you, Lori.
So, in your genealogy planner, for those of you who
Mhm.
are going to get one, and we're going to tell you how to get one in just a minute. You're, like I said, you're going to see an excerpt about the author. She's going to talk about her journey, and then your week one is your why. So you're going to write down your why. Why are
Yes.
you on your journey to figure out your roots, where you come from, right? So my why, off the top of my head, just thinking, part of my why at least is because I want my grandchildren to know where they come from, and I don't want to lose that. And I'm actually proud of the fact that my grandfather, not my great grandfather, my grandfather was born in the 1800s.
Mhm.
My father, not my grandfather,
Oh,
was born in 1928. He was significantly older than my mother. And
okay.
part of the reason why my mom was attracted to an older man, and it actually kind of dawned on me yesterday, just thinking about us getting ready to talk, thinking about what I already was wanting to do, was she was a second generation child to my grandparents. My grandparents had three children, and two of them were grown and out the house when my mother was conceived. And when she was born, the third child was in his senior year of high school. So my mom was a whole nother generation all by
Yeah.
herself.
Yeah.
And so she was raised by an older couple. And so I think that that's why she was attracted to my father, because my father was 26 years older than my mom. And
Oh, okay.
so yeah, so there's just yeah. And so then she gives you a space for names, starting with yourself, your mother, your father, your maternal grandparents, your paternal grandparents, and then so on and so forth. So as far back as you can go, right? You go as far as you can
Yes.
go, and then that's when the questions start coming in. You start reach back to and looking that up. And then I think what I would like to find out too, Rikisha, is what I realized. And I know I got some school projects I can go super, super dig. And I mean, I'm going to have to dig. Um,
Hmm.
so the one woman that I thought was my grandmother on my dad's side, I later learned, like later in life, that she was actually my dad's stepmother. So I don't even
Oh,
know that I know. Yeah. Yeah. So
okay.
I definitely want to dig a little bit deeper on both sides,
Yes.
but I think especially my dad's side too, to learn like where did we come from? You know, how far back can I take this thing? And so the book also looks at like family branches, how to interview, final resting places, things like that. So I think you guys will enjoy the book. I think that if you are in come from and trying to figure out how do I navigate the road of just laying it all out and writing it all down, this is a great way to do it, the genealogy planner. And so can you tell the people where they can get a genealogy planner from?
The genealogy planner is available online at www.relic, R-E-L-I-C, roots.com. So that's www.relic.com. Also, if you're local, I can be reached at 918-537-0300.
Mm-hmm. And so will you deliver then if they're local and want to connect?
Absolutely. Locally, yes, I will.
Or meet up
Yes.
or something like that. Okay. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
so, and then the book will be shipped directly from the website, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So I did tell you that we needed to be thinking like, how are we going to give somebody a book? Because we really need to give somebody a book. So listen, y'all,
Yes.
this is mine. This is mine. But bam, somebody gonna get one. You just can't have mine. So we want to bless one of our viewers with a genealogy planner. I just have to think, how do we want to do this? I guess you tell me if you agree with this. So this ain't set in stone.
Okay.
But you can do it if you want to.
Okay.
Talking to the audience. They can tell us, whoever the first one we see in the comments, they can tell us who your grandmother is. That's one trivia question we can do. If you like that one. And if not, then we can come up with another one.
That works.
My
8th great grandmother. My 8th great grandmother.
8th great. Yeah. So
Yes.
she has said more than once who her great grandmother is. I shown you all the picture, and her name was mentioned again. So whoever the first one we see in the comments to say who her great grandmother is, if you could tell us the name.
Can I add one part to that?
Yes.
I would like that person to give us her Cherokee name. So we said it.
Okay.
But maybe they should look at her Cherokee name.
Okay. So if they remember her name, that means y'all can get to click clacking real quick. So if you can remember her name, but you can't remember her Cherokee name because, like Miss Rikisha said, she mentioned it, then get to click clacking and see if you can come up with it. And if we don't see something pop up sooner rather than later, we're gonna hang out for a little bit longer. And so if we don't see something pop up sooner rather than later, then maybe we'll we'll come up with another question. Now, right now, excuse me. So while they're click clacking and trying to find that information, right now your book it's $28 on the website, correct? It's $28 plus tax. But that includes the shipping in that price, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So for the rest of you who will not win this book tonight, when you go to the website, just for your information, the book is $28 plus tax, but the shipping is already included in that price. So when you first came out with the book as a promotional price, and that promotion is of course over now, but your promotional price used to be what?
1866, and that was my way of paying homage to the Treaty of 1866.
Hmm. Hmm. And
Yeah.
what is the Treaty of 1866 for those in our audience that don't know?
The Treaty of 1866, which was pretty much the treaty that allowed freemen to be a part of the five civilized tribes.
Okay.
So it was the treaty produced the Dawes Roll.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice. That's good history. That's
Yeah.
good history. So I am
Yes.
proud of you for the work that you have done and are doing. I think as I get older and I look at my grandchildren, I don't think I know it's important work. It's important work, and
Absolutely.
I want my babies to know, especially because their blackness is what's more dominating, right? I want them to know that you are more than this. Like you have African roots, native roots, European roots. My
Yes.
niece and my nephew, that are my brother's children, their mother is white. And so their white dominates. And so I remind them, you white. You can pass for white. You can tell somebody you white and it probably won't ever be questioned. But don't forget that you are Native American, that you are black. You know,
Yeah.
I don't want them to forget
Yeah.
those things. I want them to know those things.
Yeah.
And but
Yes.
they definitely identify with their roots, and I'm proud of them for that. Because
Right.
in the
Right.
climate of the world that we live in the climate of the America that we live in, they can easily just be like, "Hey, I'm white,"
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and be content
Yeah.
with that. Yeah. So I'm glad that they
It,
do acknowledge their other roots. But even in working on these projects for my grandchildren, it will definitely be something that I share more with them as well, because I want them to know too. Hmm.
that's good. Because it very much it's important to know who you are, and it's important not to lose that. I mean, if we don't teach now, the elders are dying off. A lot of stories, a lot of history is dying
Hmm.
with them. And one thing I do want to mention, in my book, I have family health pages, and so that is
Okay.
something that is near and dear to me. Those health pages, because that's something that we don't really talk about in our community. Um,
Hmm.
Yes, definitely.
Hmm.
Diseases and things that run in the family, and some of those things we can prevent them, or manage them. And what better person to tell you about their struggles than a family member? So, for
Yes.
instance, my mom was diagnosed with glaucoma. By the time she
Hmm.
found out, she was totally blind in one eye,
Oh
right?
no.
And then mention it
Hmm.
to a few family members, and they're like, "Oh yeah, so and so and so and so has glaucoma." It was about 10 people that came up,
Hmm.
and that would have been useful information, because I myself, after I found out about my mom, I go to the eye doctor faithfully every year, because that's
Hmm.
important. And apparently it runs
Like
in the
this.
family.
Hmm.
So that with other things, I think that's very important that we do better with even that information. So that's near
Yeah.
and dear
I
to me.
love that. I love that.
Yeah,
Thank you for mentioning
yes.
that.
Hmm. Hmm.
So you guys make sure that you keep interacting with us in the comments and we will respond to you there. And Rikisha, is there something that I have not asked you that you want to share that you was hoping that I asked you?
Um, I just brought up the family health pages. That was one part that I wanted to share
Hmm.
that's important. And just want to encourage the viewers to get on your journey to find out who you are. I mean, it may seem simple, like, why do I need to know names of my ancestors? But once you start digging for names, you're going to want to know more. And so you'll find stories, and I bet you'll learn more about yourself just by learning about your ancestors, because we do carry the same DNA. So a lot of
Yep.
their traits and things, the good and the bad, we carry,
Hmm.
but if you
Hmm.
know you carry some things and they may not be so good, then maybe you'll make better choices if faced, with the same situations that they're faced with. So, I mean, the only way that we can break some of these cycles is by learning about them first, so you'll know how to deal with challenges when they come, because they're going to come, right? We know
Yes.
that they're
Yeah.
coming. So
So what?
that's what's important to me.
Yes.
And that's why I want to encourage people to find out who they are so we can beat these things and break these curses,
Yes.
generational curses or strongholds, however
Yes.
you choose to say them.
I
We
refuse
have
to
to
say
break
them.
them. The time is now.
Okay.
Yes.
Time is now. And one thing that you said when you found out about your grandmother, and I'm not gonna is you said it made you stand up straight.
Stand up. Ooh, I sit up
Stand
straight.
up. Yes. And so
Yes.
maybe as others go on their journey to discover where they come from, who their ancestors are, you know, we'll change our mind about how we act and conduct
Mhm.
ourselves and stand up straight. I love that you said that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm telling
Yes.
you. I'm telling you. Just every time I find out something like part of my dad's family. So I did dig and find information on my dad's family. I haven't met anyone else on his side yet, besides, my aunt and uncle, and I have some cousins. Um, but they were entrepreneurs in the early 50s, in Memphis, Tennessee. Just finding that out. That's why, I believe that I have that in me as well. So just finding
Mm-hmm.
out things about them and their strength and that type of stuff, how could you
And that
not sit
was
up?
such a big deal at
Y-
that time. It really was.
Yes,
And I
yes.
honestly feel like, unfortunately, um, I wish I have a friend named Shay. And girl, she's got these
Mhm.
generations down packed, Generation Z and Generation X, like the time frames and what they are. I don't have all that in my head. But
Mhm.
I'm gonna say the generation that's behind me and the generation close to them. I wish that they were more proud of who they are individually.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and I that hopefully one day they will want to learn more about history. And because we are not so far in 2024, we are not far removed from um, Jim Crow era, things of that nature. We're
Hmm.
not so far removed
Hmm.
from the Malcolm X's and the Martin Luther Kings. But the way that these children
Right.
are acting, these young adults and these teenagers, the way that they're acting, I feel like it's taking us backwards and not forward as a people,
That's
as a
right. Right.
community. And it's
Right.
heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking because if you knew who your ancestors were, and if you knew
Absolutely.
all the work that they did so that you could have the freedoms that you have. I feel like if
Yes.
you really knew it and you really understood it and it really meant something to you that they would not be out here acting the fools that they be out here acting.
Yeah.
And it
Or at
just
least think about it.
at least
Yeah.
think about it.
At least think
Yeah.
twice. At least think twice.
Yeah.
Have you seen that picture that's floating around where it showed how people dressed back in the 60s and they had on suits and dresses and then compared to nowadays? I mean,
Yep.
even looking at that picture, wasn't that the real
Yep.
picture?
And it meant
Just the
something to them
differences.
to dress that way to show
Yes.
our oppressors that I'm a man, I'm a woman,
Yes.
I'm a human, I'm dignified. I
Right.
walk like you walk, I talk like you
Right.
talk. I know how to, you know what
Yes.
I'm saying? And it
Yeah.
wasn't even
Yeah.
so much about, I'm gonna say it wasn't so much about conforming as it was just being dignified and
Absolutely.
and being
Yeah.
treated with
Yeah.
dignity, right? Treat me with dignity
Yes.
because I'm a human just like you. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Hmm.
So
Yes.
that picture, it was tough. It was tough, seeing that. So whoever created that, yeah, they did
Hmm.
that. Yeah.
So I am so grateful for you being here with me on tonight. And I thank you for your time. And we're grateful for our viewers and you all being here. And unless there's something that I missed asking you, I don't think I have anything else to ask right now. I just wanted the people to know about Relic Roots. I wanted the people to know about the genealogy planner. And I wanted to really kind of push myself to keep moving along the mindset of, you know, digging.
Yes.
And I want to encourage other people to dig into their roots as well. So,
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah.
I'm good,
And
but
like,
I just again want to add just get on your journey. That's the way that I like to say it is get on your journey to discovering who you are. Um, it it'll change you.
mhm. Yeah. So
Yes.
we want to tell you all thank you for being here with us on tonight. We appreciate your time. And thank you for interacting with us in the comments. And I'm going to say toodles and ask my guests to say toodles.